Origins and transitions in Buddhism. The religion Buddhism originated in India between the 6th and 4th century BCE. Evidence of Buddhism was found in old sutras or written documents that were written in Sanskrit that are still being translated to this day. Buddhism has spread throughout most of Asia and now has a foothold in other parts of the world as well. Buddhism is a religion that contains a large variety of spiritual traditions and belief, mainly dedicated to reaching nirvana. This is the spiritual goal of Buddhism, created by the teachings of Buddha himself, or Siddhartha Gautama. Nirvana is represented in Buddhism as enlightenment, where an individual emotions or desires and suffering no longer exist for the individual. Early Buddhism was written in Sanskrit and can be known as the doctrines of Buddhism. These doctrines can be divided into 3 parts, or called the divisions in the scriptural canon of Buddhists. The sutra is comprised of mostly words of the Buddha. The Vinaya is a set of rules or disciplines that were passed down by Buddha to his disciples. The Abhidharma were doctrines that contains Buddha's teachings. Theravada Buddhism is used heavily in Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Thailand, and Burma. Theravada Buddhism translates to the elders, where the elders are monks who practice and preserve Buddhist teachings. Theravada Buddhism is believed to be the closest to the original teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, so they consider their religion to have 3 jewels: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The path to enlightenment in Theravada Buddhism is through morality, meditation, and wisdoms. These were a set of noble ideals, values, and aspects of religion. These were the aspects of the Vinaya, the oldest monastic order. The Vinaya provides a rule break for a complete and wholesome life, or basically a way to live. Within the Sangha Vinaya, the Sanghadesa, are a set of 13 rules that followers must obey to, otherwise they'll be considered defeated. To begin, 1, pleasuring oneself is prohibited. 2, lustful desires with a woman are prohibited. Lustful remarks or slanders towards women are prohibited, and the remaining rules continue in that fashion regarding the well-being of a woman. Ananyata were 2 rules that were put in place for monks who abuse any of the rules in the Sanghadesa. Accusation can only be made if a monk says he is guilty or whether there is substantial evidence. Therefore, it is seen as inappropriate to sit with a woman privately where lustful acts or lustful exchanges of words can take place. In Theravada Buddhism, Siddhartha Gautama was considered just a man, human and not divine, while in Mahayanism Buddhism, this would disagree. The Sangha is a form of discipline or order that Siddhartha Gautama had founded. It is designed to find enlightenment and to preserve Buddhist teachings. The Dharma is a doctrine of what the Buddhist teachings were originally which were originally spoken in the sacred language of Pali. Pali originally meant canonical text, which is an ancient derivative of Sanskrit. The Pali canonical text consists of 3 collections: the Vinaya Pitaka, the rules of discipline of the Sangha; the Sutta Pitaka, which consists of Buddha's rituals, poetry, and other written texts; and the Abhidhamma Pitaka, which is the philosophy of Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism heavily relies on beliefs of Siddhartha Gautama passed down orally. The monks who practice this school of Buddhism rely heavily on the original traditions of Theravada Buddhism. It is more of an obstacle course to salvation for the monks or believers. As time progresses, the traditions of belief change, and it becomes more of a religion for people than an obstacle course. One of the early schools of Buddhism was the Mahayana Buddhism. It is the main religion of Tibet, China, and Japan, with about 500 million followers within the religion. The philosophies in Mahayana Buddhism has many similarities to Christianity. Mahayanism was created around the 7th century BCE, and it agrees that Siddhartha Gautama's teachings lead to salvation for all. Mahayanism believes in Buddhist teachings of the 4 Noble Truths. The 4 Noble Truths consist of these teachings: that 1, suffering exists; 2, that the cause of suffering is wrongful desires; 3, that there is a possible end to suffering, namely the attainment of nirvana through enlightenment; and 4, that nirvana may be gained by pursuing the Noble Eightfold Path. The Four Noble Truths can be seen in all forms of Buddhism. The Noble Eightfold Paths consist of 1. Right comprehension, 2. Right aspiration, 3. Right speech, 4. Right conduct, 5. The right mode of livelihood, 6. The right endeavor, 7. The right self-discipline, and 8. The right rapture. Following these 8 paths can lead an individual to find spiritual enlightenment and remove suffering from their lives. Mahayana teaches the existence of an absolute. This is known as the Bhutatata, which translates to suchness of existence. From Bhutatata in a religious conscious point of view, it is termed Dharmakaya, or the former impersonal unmanifested God. Later this will be termed as a personal and manifested destiny. In Mahayana, every Buddha is to be considered to be one with the Dharmakaya. Therefore, the Buddha's appearance on earth is considered to be an incarnation or reflection of the Supreme. Mahayana believes in the doctrine of Anatman. Anatman is the idea that while the soul exists, it is a combination of things and not a thing in itself, and also karma. The belief in karma, as one man does, so shall he reap in this life and in the carnation. According to Anatman, Buddhist teachings, there is no self. This comes from the belief that one specific part can't represent who we are. It is broken down into 5 parts: the body, consciousness, emotions, karma, and perception. In Mahayana Buddhism, the Absolute teaches that all existence is the manifestation of one substance, or what we see as reality or the being. The Absolute contains multiple principles: the essence of Buddha as it constitutes the reason of Buddhahood, the Dharma when it is considered the normal law of existence, the Bodhi when it is the source of existence, the Prajna, which is translated to wisdom, when it intelligently directs the course of nature, the Paramartha, the highest truth, the Bhutakoti, when its ontological aspect is taken into consideration, the Tathagarbha, the womb of the Tathagata, which is Buddha, when it's thought of its in analogy to Mother Earth, where all life is stored. These all constitute of what Bhutatata is, or simply the suchness of existence, or suchness. The 2 realms of Absolute, or Bhutatata, has 2 states, the conditioned and the unconditioned. In Mahayanism, their chief authorities were teaching their beliefs around the time of Christ. Mahayanism claims that it wouldn't be true if God exists or that God does not exist, due to that existence implies non-existence, which then would limit absoluteness. Mahayanism uses the idea of God or devil from Christianity in the form of cause and effect. Mahayana teaches that the highest being in the universe can become a devil, God, man, or even an animal that adapts itself to the intellectual development of people. It resembles the Christian idea of God and Christ, whose duty is to teach mankind the truth of all things along with attaining salvation. Like Christianity, Mahayanism has multiple holy trinities. The Amida is termed for boundless light. Kwanan is the term for the Lord who looks down from high. And the Sambhogakaya translates to the body of bliss, which ensures the highest form of happiness. Kwanan is considered to be a god or goddess of love and mercy, and can be seen as a man throughout China and as a woman throughout Japan. Kwanan's sex gradually changes between the two and is sometimes seen as half man or half woman, depending on how it is depicted.